Hafa-Adai students, I am Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. You all have been through a year of big changes. We've had to adapt and make big changes to keep our families and our island safe. But with change comes opportunity and a chance to try new things like PBS University. While Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and I will continue to do our part to keep our island safe, you students have a part to play as well. Your part is to keep learning and to keep up with your lessons. That's why I am happy to see you here ready to learn with PBS University. PBS University is a way to bring a continuous educational curriculum to you while you stay safe at home during this time. To help you keep up with your studies, we asked our friends at PBS Guam and the Guam Department of Education to put together this episode. Thank you for doing your part and have a great lesson.
Humanities Guahan, an independent nonprofit organization affiliated with the National Endowment for the Humanities, is dedicated to promoting public humanities programming for the people of Guam and providing foundational support and educational resources for our island community. For more information about Humanities Guahan, visit www.humanitiesguahan.org. Storytelling, oral histories, and cultural traditions throughout Pacific Island societies are important and highly respected forms of knowledge. Such knowledge is passed down through families, clans, and communities over generations, as well as reiterated in a more contemporary context through narratives, poetry, performance, and other creative forms. The following video series is part of Humanities Guahan's Kwentusi Ihanan project, in which participating Chamorros and other Micronesians share their cultural knowledge in relation to the physical, spiritual, creative, economic, and political aspects of water.
Chi'ataw. Uri Suyang He. The ocean protects us. My Lodza. Ngunfu. The ocean connects us. Amapotayo. October. Itasi Hatfat Malaku. We need the ocean, and the ocean needs us.
Praise song for Oceania. Praise your capacity for birth, your fluid currents and trenchant darkness. Praise your contracting waves and dilating horizons. Praise our briny beginning, the source of every breath. Praise your capacity for renewal, your rise into clouds and descent into rain. Praise your underground aquifers, rivers and lakes, glaciers and watersheds. Praise your capacity to endure the violence of those who claim dominion over you, who map you empty ocean to pillage, who divide you into latitudes and longitudes, who scar your middle passages. Praise your capacity to survive our trawling boats taking from your collapsing depths. Praise your capacity to dilute our sewage and radioactive waste, pollutants and plastics, heavy metals and greenhouse gases. Praise your capacity to bury soldiers, terrorists, slaves, refugees, to bury the ashes of our loved ones. Praise your capacity to remember. Praise your library of drowned stories and museum of lost treasures. Praise our migrant routes and submarine routes. Praise your capacity to cleanse rising tides, relentless storms, towering tsunamis, and feverish floods. Praise your capacity to smother schools of fish, to save them from our cruelty, to show us what we're no longer allowed to take, to starve us like your corals are being starved and bleached, liquid lungs choked of oxygen. Praise your capacity to forgive. Please forgive our territorial hands and acidic breath. Please forgive our nuclear arms and naval bodies. Please forgive our concrete dams and cabling veins. Please forgive our deafening sonar and lustful tourisms. Please forgive our invasive drilling and deep sea mining. Praise your capacity for mercy. Please let our grandfathers and fathers catch just one more fish. Please make it stop raining soon. Please make it rain soon. Please spare our fragile farms and fruit trees. Please spare our low-lying islands and atolls. Please spare our coastal villages and cities. Please let us cross safely to a land without war. Praise your capacity for hope. Praise your rainbow warrior and peace boat, Hokulea and Sea Shepherd, Arctic sunrise and flotillas of hope. Praise your marine stewardship councils and sustainable fisheries. Praise your radical seafarers and native navigators, your activist kayaks and canoes. Praise your sacred water walkers. Praise your ocean conservancies and surf rider foundations. Praise your aquanaut and hydra labs. Praise your whale hunting and shark finning bands. Praise your sanctuaries and no-take zones. Praise your pharmacopoeia of new antibiotics. Praise your wave and tidal energy. Praise your hashtag ocean optimism and hashtag hope spots. Praise your capacity for echolocation. Tasi and Kai and Tai and Moana Nui and Vasa and Tahi and Vaitui and Wanso Wara, all are names for you, translate into creation stories and song maps. Praise your capacity for communion. Praise our pathway and promise to each other. Praise our common heritage, our endless saga, our most powerful metaphor. Praise your vision of belonging. Praise your horizon of care. Praise our blue planet, one world ocean. Praise our transoceanic past, present, and future flowing through our blood.
Hafidi, Guahusi Victoria Lola Leon Guerrero, and I'm a mother and a writer and a lover of our people's history and culture. And one of my favorite places in Guahan is here at Litexen. Litexen, which is commonly known as Ritidian, but its native name is Litexen, or the stirring place, because of the stirring of the ocean water, which is very rough here. But also very giving. It's a place where our ancestors have left traces of their life dating back to the earliest history of our people, 3,500 years ago. And archaeologists and historians speculate that the reason the place has always been populated is because of access to fresh water. Litexen has access to the northern Guam Lens Aquifer, which is a vast aquifer that supplies the island with up to 60 million gallons of water a day. So our ancestors were able to get fresh water easily through freshwater drips in the caves, which are plentiful here, in little pools in the caves where they could access the aquifer directly, and even in seeps of fresh water at the ocean. And so, as you can see, I'm here in one of the older Lati villages here at Litexen. And of course, over time, the space changed and the use of the space changed. And so just outside of this latte house, there's a stone well that during the 1800s, in the Spanish era, when there was a huge agricultural development of Litexian, some of the latte were repurposed to build stone wells. And that helped with the agriculture and the people who stayed here in order to grow food for the rest of the population. Litexian currently is used by people who continue to fish and families who continue to come here to learn more about our history and to enjoy the beautiful beach. But sadly, due to the U.S. military's plans to station Marines on Guam, they'd like to build the Marines a firing range above Litexian, threatening our community's access to this important cultural and historical space, and also threatening the aquifer that continues to supply most of the island with fresh water. The Department of Navy's environmental impact statements state that with the increased population, there will be an increased demand in water that will pull so much from the aquifer that we could see some saltwater intrusion, which would affect the cleanliness of the water. They also predict that they will not be able to repair our sewage system in time to prevent sewage spills that would also affect the quality of our groundwater. And this is very upsetting when you think of the fact that the Navy controls another major water source, which is Fenna Lake. And because they control Fenna Lake, they sell our water back to us at a rate that is much higher than the rate our water agency charges us. And it's so high and it's raised so frequently and arbitrarily that the Guam Waterworks Authority has had to literally wean the island off of Fenna Lake because they cannot afford the water there. And so considering that now majority of the island's water comes from this northern Guam lands aquifer and an increased military presence and an increased and unexpected population growth as a result could affect the cleanliness of this water is something that we as a community should not accept. Water is a human right that we have to really protect and that we have to fight for. We shall not allow anybody to threaten our water because water is life. And we on Guam are so blessed with this aquifer. There are people that go through droughts that affect everything. It changes their entire way of life. And we don't have to worry about that because we have such a vast water supply. It's something that we have to offer for ourselves. It's something we have to offer to the world. We should never allow the threat of somebody else's plans for their military affect our access to clean water. Because through clean water, we are healthier and happier people. And so I want to encourage people to come to Litexian, learn about this space, and learn about our water. How do we get our water every day? Because we can't start learning about our water when it's too late.
Hafa-day. My name is Joni Kangakur, and I am a teacher at Guam Community College. I teach science, marine biology, and chemistry. And we're here at the Maso watershed area, specifically right near the Maso Reservoir. And we're here because I want to talk about something called the Ridge to Reef concept. And the Ridge to Reef concept is based on the idea that activities or events that occur inland, specifically on hilly ridges or mountain ridges, affect nearshore coral reefs. And it's important to talk about Maso because Maso is actually a work in progress that uses the Ridge to Reef concept. And we're hoping that Maso becomes now a model for other watersheds to follow as we move around Guam and protect our water resources. The southern Guam has a different kind of watershed than what we have in the north. In the south, we have rainfall that falls in the mountains, the hilly areas. The rainwater is absorbed by layers of soil and clay. but then that water eventually hits solid bedrock and has to run back up to the surface. And when it gets to the surface, it forms streams and rivers. And so these streams actually flow downward following gravity and collect into a wetland or into a larger river. And so this river or these streams carry along with them sediment, nutrients, and so on. Anything that gets put into it is carried by the river, and eventually all the rivers end up draining into the ocean. So it's important to realize from a protective perspective that it's important to have water that leaves the land being clean before it hits the ocean, before it hits the coral reefs. So a little bit of history about Maso watershed area, or the reservoir. The reservoir was built in 1945 after World War II by the military, and that was to supply drinking water for the troops. However, in 1951 it was abandoned because of the high sediment load in the water. In 1978 the land was given to GovGuam, and in fits and starts the watershed was developed here and there, but nothing ever really was done consistently until about 2010. They started to do revegetation of the area using acacia bottlebrush trees, and the importance of the acacia bottlebrush is that it grows very quickly, and it's been called a nursery tree because it supplies nitrates to the soil. And why are we supplying nitrates to the soil? We're doing that because over the years the soil has been eroded and removed because of various factors such as wildland fires, off-roading, erosion events. And so it was important to replace that soil. Now, over the years as well, the Maso River has been carrying sediment-laden water into Petey Bay, and it opens up at the Santos Memorial Park. That's where the river mouth drains. And this has caused coral colonies in that area to die. It's not a very pretty place to snorkel. And so in order to help the reef recover, it was necessary to remove sediment from the water, or at least help with that process of sediment removal. So the Maso River runs behind Jose Rios Middle School. And as it runs behind the school, it also goes underneath a bridge. And just before the bridge, gabions were installed. The gabions are basically cages, wire cages full of rocks, and the rocks help to stabilize the stream bank or the river bank, especially during the rainy season when the water is most destructive as it's coursing through very quickly through the riverway. And it was there at the park, right near the pavilion, where a rain garden was installed. And what the rain garden does is it reduces the amount of runoff that goes directly into the bay. So after a couple of years of planting the acacia trees, it was determined by the Department of Agriculture that they could now put in endemic and native trees. And so now we have pago trees, pandanus trees, chioti, nanaso, lada, which is also called noni. And what's happened now is that the area has been transformed into a recreational area. So other things that we can do to protect our watershed and our water resources is to avoid activities like burning, particularly wildland fires that might get started by arsonists. And the fires get rid of vegetation, and it's the vegetation that's important for holding the soil together, absorbing water, reducing runoff, and so on. We also need to ensure that we take care of our trash, dispose of cooking and motor oil appropriately. We don't want to throw it into the ground or into the waterways. And we also need to watch our off-roading activities because off-roading damages the soil. We also need to ensure that development doesn't contribute to erosion and pollution. What used to be muddy slopes And we used to go sliding up and down these slopes trying to plant trees. Now those slopes are covered with vegetation and trees. And further in, behind the reservoir, we're going to see trees, basically a forested area that didn't used to be there. So this transformation has turned this area into a place where we can hold the annual Kids Fishing Derby. Part of the funds that made this walkway and fishing platform came from a sport fishing fund. And so the kids enjoy that every year, and I'm sure that people can come up here and enjoy some quiet time, hiking time, and it's just a great place to be.
It's a whole new world beneath the blue. You'll find giant whales and tiny fish too. It's a whole new world beneath the blue. And we are part of it all, me and you. Don't hurt the ocean, protect the reef. We are the keepers of all that's beneath. Don't hurt the ocean, protect the reef. We are the keepers of all that's beneath. It's a whole new world beneath the blue. You'll find giant whales and tiny fish too. It's a whole new world beneath the blue. And we are part of it all, me and you.
The Quintusi Handam videos can be viewed on Humanities Guahan's YouTube channel or accessed on Humanities Guahan's website at www.humanitiesguahan.org.
Hafa students, I'm Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. For more than a year now, you all have continued to wash your hands and watch your distance from others, and you've done a really great job wearing your masks. We know your parents and guardians have helped you to make these changes to keep yourself and your community safe. As Governor Leon Guerrero said, we are happy you are here. We want you to continue to learn and sharpen your skills with the help of PBS University. This program is the result of a collaborative effort. We couldn't do it alone. I'd like to thank the teachers and support staff of the Guam Department of Education and PBS Guam for their work and their commitment to our students. I'd also like to thank you students for participating at home. To your parents, I'd like to thank you for taking an active role in your child's education. We are all eager to return to a time when all of us can share and study together in person. Until then, we hope you learned something new from this PBS University instruction.